Splendor of Creation, mainly really unpacking Genesis 1, right?
Right.
And so what are you finding in Genesis 1? Because you're definitely
Okay.
not finding just your old-fashioned anthropocentrism.
Right. No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
So for me, like basically what I did with Splendor of Creation was go line by line, unpacking each verse of Genesis 1 and finding all of these like really cool ecological ideas that were buried inside of it
Hmm.
that no one ever, pointed out. And I feel like most, a lot of people haven't read my book um, and and still don't see. I feel like tons of people, including tons of rabbis, are down on Genesis 1. Like they don't want to even talk about like it's like, whoa, don't talk to me about Genesis 1. That's like the evil uh chapter of our Bible. And give me Genesis 2, which has like the stewardship stuff in it.
Right.
And but people want to distance themselves from Genesis 1 because of the language of dominion. But okay, so just to give you a few examples, um, on the third day, a third day of creation in the Bible, any child who's been through Christian Sunday school, maybe Jewish Sunday school, knows that on what they'll tell you, you ask them what happens on the third day of creation, and they'll tell you that the trees were created. But in fact, if you do a close reading of those two verses, which is like Genesis 1:11 and 12, what the word that keeps being repeated over and over in the Hebrew is seed, zera. And so you have this sense that that's what's actually created on the third day is the process for resilience and the process for reproduction and the process for sustainability through seeds,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that happens on the third day. Then there are all these other references to the importance of reproduction, regeneration. So you have the seeds. You also have this phrase repeated 10 times in Genesis 1, after its kind. Everything that's created is created after its kind. And there's a sense of the importance of the continuity of species, right? So that's another sustainability hint. Another sustainability hint is on the, if you were to ask most people who haven't like spent a lot of time thinking about Genesis 1, who gets the first blessing? Who gets the first blessing? And everybody will say, humanity gets the first blessing. Humanity doesn't get the first blessing. The fish and the birds get the first blessing. And the blessing is to be fruitful and multiply. That's who gets the blessing to be fruitful and multiply, is the fish and the birds. So another sustainability, mandate. So it's like woven throughout. And then the very last line is really bizarre if you look at the Hebrew. The very last line of the story, Genesis 2:3, it says, so on the seventh day, God had finished from the work that God had made. Okay, and then it ends. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all the work that God had created to make. It ends with this infinitive verb. It's totally weird. And it's sort of like God had done all of this work. It rested from the work, which was about making more of itself.
Right.
It's sort of this sense that this making is continuing. So you have, so it's like, from a literary perspective, you have these like 4 different ideas of sustainability threaded through Genesis 1, and then it ends, right? It tops it off in a very hidden way at the end about making more.
Right.
And it just seems like, that's just one element of Genesis 1 that I found really fascinating. That really what it's all about is creation, regeneration. It's always regenerating. And like it's like the most important idea in ecological thought,
Yeah,
you know?
that's great.